Good morning, it's Susan at Seaside Stitches. It's lovely to see you again, and thank you ever so much for subscribing. I've now got over 470 subscribers and wow, that is amazing. So thank you. Thank you. If you do like the video, if you'd like to give it a thumbs up, I'd be grateful. But the most important thing, my plans weren't to do this video, so I'm just jumping in now. There is a hashtag, a collaboration, something to draw awareness about Alzheimer's. It's based in the States. It's the Alzheimer's, apparently it's the World Alzheimer's Month. Hi, it's Susan at Seaside Stitches, and I am just coming on to promote a sewing event across YouTube that is called hashtag Sew Purple to End ALZ 22, and the challenge or the event is meant to get people who are sewing to make any kind of sewing project in purple. And purple in the States is the colour of the Alzheimer's organisation, or Alzheimer's, I'm not sure if it's purple is the colour in which they promote Alzheimer's awareness in the States. In the UK, where I'm from, where I am, we have a forget-me-not flower, so our colour is usually a forget-me-not blue. So there are little badges, pin badges in forget-me-not colours. But in the States it's purple. So what Michelle Sews Again, hashtag Michelle Sews Again, her channel, she is running every single day bar 1 of September, where she's doing a sewing collaboration with another YouTube sewist, someone else with a YouTube channel, and they are each making something in purple or in the purple kind of spectrum. And then Michelle is speaking about it on her channel, and the person who she's doing the collaboration with is also speaking about it on their channel. And it's really to raise awareness about Alzheimer's and the need to have more funding, more research done, and more treatments available, and just more awareness. Now, the reason it's important to me is that both my parents were touched by dementia. So the reason I am here talking to you now is that I have accepted Michelle's offer. I am not part of the collaborations, but I am also a YouTuber with a sewing channel, and I would like to make something purple. I have got 15 days left to be able to make something purple, display it on Instagram on the 30th of September with the hashtag Sew Purple to End ALZ 22. And if you would also like to take part, please do that. Michelle is wanting as many people as possible to do so. It's not just about raising money, so it's not about having to donate anything, but on hashtag Michelle Sews Again, her channel, she has got in her description box all the details and a link to a page that she set up, a kind of donation page in memorial of her dad. In memoriam, I think the word is. Her dad suffered from Alzheimer's, and she, in her very first vlog, to introduce the project, she explains a little bit about her dad, and it's very interesting and very moving. And I'd just like to say that our family was touched with dementia, and Alzheimer's is just one form of dementia, but it's become the most common cause of dementia that we are aware of so far. And in the UK, there is the Alzheimer's Society. Now, if we had not have had the Alzheimer's Society website with all their free fact sheets, or fact sheets that you could just offer a donation for if you wanted them, with all the information on different types of dementia, different aspects of dementia, different behaviours of dementia, we would not have realised what was going on with my dad. He presented very quickly, just in 2010, with quite a high anxiety level, and just not being himself and not being fully tuned in to what was going on. Now, within a few weeks, very few weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks, he was presenting as if he had had Alzheimer's for many years. It was as if he had progressed through the Alzheimer's process, and he was really quite unreachable. Within just weeks, it was like that. But what it turned out to be, we managed to get him into hospital. His GP wasn't really interested, but we managed to get him into hospital. And in the medical assessment unit, they did quite a few blood tests, and they discovered that the blood pressure medication, I'm not blaming blood pressure medication, the blood pressure medication and the heart medication that he'd been on had been contributing to the fact that, because he was on water tablets as well, his sodium levels, the salt, that's the saline, the sodium levels in his blood were very, very low. And the symptoms he was showing were because he had some cerebral edema, which is like a bit of fluid on the brain, because his sodium balance was out of sync. And he was presenting with these symptoms as if he did have dementia. But they were dementia symptoms, but related to what was going on with him. Now, it wasn't certain whether it was the drugs, that they were the wrong drugs for him. He'd been on them for years. Or it was the him getting used to the drugs, or the levels, or the different combinations, or whether his body just wasn't processing them right. So it began months and months of trying to work out what that was. Now, I'm not going into the whole thing of this, but I just want to say that we need to know more about this condition. And we need to spread the word about this condition. And we need to spread the word that these people are still in there. The amount of information is sometimes quite poor, and people have rigid ideas of, oh, well, you have to put them straight about, no, it isn't 1966, it's 2002. And there's loads of information now that you stay with where the client, where the patient, where your family member, where your friend actually thinks they are in their mind. You don't suddenly shock them into saying, no, your mother's been dead 14 years, because they can relive that grief then. So I know quite a lot about dementia. I did Alzheimer's as a special subject, a special module when I did my psychology degree. I set up a company offering social care, training. Dementia was one of the issues, common induction standards, and I have quite a lot of information that I would really like to share with you. I'm not going to do it now, so don't worry, but I've decided that in relation to this challenge or event or project, I'm going to put about 3 small videos of just a little bit of information that may help you in living with a person who has dementia or caring for a person who has dementia. And when I say dementia rather than Alzheimer's, it's because there are many types. My mum, after my dad died, while I was over there looking after my dad so much more than I would normally be, I was aware that my mum's memory wasn't as good as ever I'd thought it was. And she was putting things, she wasn't remembering where she'd put things. She was looking for things in strange places that you wouldn't think that you wouldn't make that connection that object could possibly be where she was looking for it. And those little things obviously could have been just easily dismissed as, well, it's the stress of she's looking after her husband, or her husband is very poorly at the moment, or she's losing her husband, or she's now grieving for her husband because he's passed away. And because we were on the ball, we made sure that we got all the information we could, and we could help her then with having her assessed And what it turned out to be was listed at that point mild cognitive impairment, which just means your brain isn't working as well as it could in terms of thinking and processing. And it was something to be mindful of when we were engaging with her, and also the kind of tasks that we were expecting of her. So that was helpful to know, and then that helped us process to keeping an eye on her and keeping an eye on the progression of this, which did develop into what they called mixed dementia. So my mum had Alzheimer's as well as vascular dementia. So vascular dementia was that because of her history of her high blood pressure and her heart issues, and the blood vessels that were in her brain weren't working sufficiently well to supply enough nutrients to parts of her brain. I'm going to say brain nerves because that's what they are really, the neurons in her brain. So it was like, so they weren't always passing the messages on, but they hadn't died off. So it was a case of re-engineering ways of thinking. So I'm not going into all that stuff now, but what I'm going to say is I would like to take part in this challenge because I'm hoping, but I may not be able to do it in the time, to make 3 items. It might only be a bag, it might be, I don't know what it'll be, a t-shirt or something, because I'd like to honour my dad, who had, it did turn out that there were some faults with his kidneys, but the problem that they were causing was that he was behaving as if he had Alzheimer's, and his progression was as if he had Alzheimer's, but also was throwing up something that appeared to also be something called Lewy bodies. So Lewy bodies is also a type of dementia, so it's dementia with Lewy bodies, and he had hallucinations which are not, and high emotion and high anxiety, and very acute loss of memory for faces. All this happened in a very short time, and he passed away within a year of it starting. Now that is not a normal progression for Alzheimer's, so I'm just telling you that. It doesn't suddenly appear and then within a year it's taken your relative, your friend with it. That's not the way it works. So it was something that he wasn't able to process, and what he actually died of was because he went into kidney failure. So he had acute renal failure, and by that time he'd been into hospital, he'd been there quite some time, he didn't understand what was going on, and they had a special nurse with him to help with reassuring him. He also got separation anxiety from my mum. So he just would walk the halls, walk the hospital, needing to go home, desperate, where's Marjorie, I don't know who you are, why can't I go home, all this stuff. So it very, very distressing at the time, but we did manage to get him home, and we did manage to get in an amount of care for him with our understanding of what was going on, that our family members, my 2 sisters and the grandchildren, grown-up grandchildren, were able to help him by communicating with him on the level he was able to communicate at. And that's so important. It's no good going in there with an agenda that's your own. You have to be able to engage with them at where they are. So if he's chuckling about something but we've no idea what it is, we can chuckle along, that's fine. As long as we're not laughing at him, we're laughing alongside him at whatever he thinks is funny, and then he can feel like he's got company in this, whatever this ridiculous thing is or might be that he's laughing about. With my mum, we kept her, I'm going to say tuned in, but tuned in to what was going on in her life, because she used to be a singer, and so music was important. Singing was important to her, but she knew all the old songs. And although she could speak very well, she was very fluent, and she was very plausible, my mum. That was a big issue for us, because she was plausible and people would think she's fine. and not realise that they needed to offer more care than she was thinking she needed, because she was only remembering a time when she was absolutely fine. She'd even forgotten that her arthritic knees were so painful and that she couldn't do this and couldn't do that, and she was up and about and all over the place. So they are also things that happen because they can go as current time slips away from them. They can be living in a time when everything was different. So there's lots of things I could talk to you about, which I won't do now. So I have my dad that I'd like to remember by making something purple, my mum that I'd like to remember by making something purple, and my Auntie Vicky, who my dad and my mum got it in their 80s, and my Auntie Vicky didn't make it to her 80s. So she was 2 or 3 years before that when she started with it. My Auntie Vicky was my dad's sister, who was 13 years younger than him. And as a grown-up, she became to me like my older sister. And we shared the same, absolutely the same sense of humour, the same understanding of things, the same valuing of things. She was a very strong woman, my Auntie Vicky, and but she was about 4'11" and I was 5'6.5", and she would refer to us as twins. She went to grammar school and she went to live down south, so we spoke a little bit differently. But my Auntie Vicky meant a great deal to me, and when she started with heart problems, and then it was clear that her memory was really getting quite faulty, we tried to engage her family within that to assist her. But it's strange how some people can tune in, and this is nothing against them. This is just that they just had a different way of assessing her and managing her, and while they were very kind and respectful to her independence, I'd just like to say that dementia is a very cruel disease. It's a condition, it's not a disease. Dementia itself is not a disease. Alzheimer's is a disease. Dementia is just a form of your brain is not functioning in the manner it should do, mentally and emotionally, and sometimes motor. Your coordination isn't right, your ability to read isn't right, your ability to see well isn't right. But a lot of those factors can be put right along the way, and then you realise there may be dementia underneath and there may not. I'm just going to leave you with one thing now. I'm hoping to make 3 things. If I make none, it doesn't matter, because what's important is that I inspire you to look up anything you can on caring for people with dementia. And if one of you that is watching today looks up how to care for someone with dementia, there are several websites, but I do recommend, in the UK, I recommend Alzheimer's Society. They break it down into all sorts of different information. And in the US, I'm not sure if it's the Alzheimer's Association, where ours is the Alzheimer's Society. Anyway, if you are in the UK and you are someone with dementia, or are someone who cares for someone with dementia, either because they're a friend or a member of the family, or professionally, you will not know everything, but you will know a damn sight more if you go on their website. But I don't know if you do know that you can be a member for no fee. You can be a member of the Alzheimer's Society in the UK if you have dementia yourself or are caring for someone with dementia. You can also make a donation at any time, and you do not need to accept the free membership if you want to pay a little bit towards all the research and all the campaigns and everything. The other thing I could ask you to do is, if you don't want to look it up, if you don't want to know about it, if you see on your Facebook feed a request for you to sign a petition or write to your MP with a pro forma letter to ask the government to take more interest in bringing Alzheimer's to the fore in all the decisions that they're making in social care and health, please would you do that? Because it makes a big difference. It's like, oh, another petition, what use is that? The more people who sign a petition asking for something, the more likely it has to be presented in Parliament. So please, if you are seeing a request to write to your MP or to sign a petition about Alzheimer's or any type of dementia, please don't just bypass it. Please sign it, read it, sign it and share it if you agree with it. And I would be so pleased if you could do that, and you will make a difference to someone. Because it's those of us who don't have it at the moment or yet, or who have it while they're aware they've got it, that can make a difference about this now for all of us who may get it. Because none of us are immune from it. There's another note I want to stop on, and that is living well with dementia. In fact, I'm going to put that right up front. What we discovered through the Alzheimer's Society in the UK is that there was a project on living well with dementia. And the way to look after someone with dementia is to help them live well with it, not write them off, help them to feel that they're not written off, that the services are not writing them off, that their family are not writing them off, that society isn't writing them off. And just looking up all the things you can do to help someone who's got dementia, it's amazing. You know, you can have different kind of clocks, you can have different kind of cutlery or cups, you can have medication dispensers that have got a timer on. When it beeps, they just turn it over, and all the medication's already been pre-placed in that. I don't mean the ones you get from the chemist that you pop your bubbles out. Those are things as well. While you're in a situation while you can manage that, that's fabulous. If you get to the point where you've got someone who opens the thing, they see the bubble, they don't know what that relates to, but they just press it anyway and then take whatever's in the medication, you need to be looking at another option. And some people think, well, they have to go in home now, or they have to have carers. There are processes and gadgets that you can use to help them stay as independent and living well with dementia as possible. Here endeth the first lesson. So, that's my serious bit. I'm not sure what I'm going to make. I had thought, now that very naughty Alison at So Like Dotty had made a gingham, a lilac or a purple check gingham sagebrush top. And I was going to make one of those. And I'd only recently got the sagebrush top pattern, and I was going to make one of those. So I'm not going to do that now. I think I am making another Bondi t-shirt in purple this time. And I did buy this possibly to make a Westcliff dress. I am already making a Westcliff dress, but I'm also thinking that I may repeat one of these. I really like this dress. This is the Yasmin. I will put some pictures up. It's the Yasmin dress, or most of it is, from Sinclair Patterns. And another thing for Sinclair Patterns, did you know that on Mondays and Tuesdays they usually bring out, or Tuesdays, they usually bring out a discounted pattern for that week. Sometimes they leave it longer and sometimes they bring out one or two. So normally on a Monday or Tuesday it's worth checking the Sinclair Patterns website. So anyway, the thing the Bondi t-shirt I want to make is a Sinclair pattern, and this is a Sinclair pattern, and it's called the Yasmin dress. It goes together beautifully. I am going to put a film together of some of the making of it. I haven't filmed it all, but I did alter the skirt. Instead of it being one that's just skims from the waist to over my hips, I didn't want one of those, so I've made it with the simplicity pattern that I often use, something like 8878, but I'll put the thing on. And obviously same sleeves as usual with the Harper cardigan cuff, but the sleeve from that, whatever the simplicity pattern is that I'm talking about. But this time I put the skirt on from that pattern as well. So the skirt normally comes up here. I chopped off the top, made sure where the waistline was, matched it all up, and then I made it into a skirt, a tighter skirt. I wanted one more fitted, and I also wanted a ruffle on the bottom. So I have a ruffle on the bottom. So I seem to have been shouting in this video. This is a really heartfelt subject, and I'm so pleased if you would. All you need to do is, it's just about raising awareness. So if you want to make something purple so that more people go onto Instagram and see all the purple things and get the message, or make a video and put something in about dementia, or make a video and just share your makes, or just use the hashtag. Let's get it circulating. Michelle is working wonders, absolutely working wonders in the States for what she's doing. Yeah, so you can also go over to her page, check out the details, and leave a donation in her memorial page. She said anyone can collect funds for any aspect of dementia, either your own local place or I'm not doing that. I'd like action, a petition, or sending a letter to your MP that the Alzheimer's Society would like you to, provide a pro forma for. They have campaigns listed on their website if there's anything you could be joining in with there. Also, just to remember, you're loved. If you have dementia, you're still loved. And if you've got someone you love now, you're still going to love them, and they need your love. They need your love a lot more than they did. So I'm sending out lots of love to you, and let's see what happens by the 30th of September and see how many people may have been able to make something and put it on Instagram. I let you go now. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you for watching. Lots of love, Susan.